Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. We have Marlene Mankin here from Innovia, and she is going to be presenting on data cleanup with RapidStart. And we just want to let you know that if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to type them into the questions box, and we will get them called out and answered toward the end of the webinar. And we do record all of our webinars, so this will be available on our website later this week for you to review again, or if you would like to share it with anyone who may be interested. So now I will turn it over to Marlene, and she will start our presentation.
Hello everyone. Today we'll work on cleaning up some item categories. I wanted to pick something small that we can work with so that you could see the options of being able to expand what you can correct through RapidStart and NAV. So the first thing I'd like to do is start off with a couple poll questions so that we can jump right in.
Okay, the first poll question is, have any of you used RapidStart before? And you can select from one of the options. Okay, well, 80% said yes, and 20% said no.
Okay, great. Perfect.
And the next poll question we have is, have you had to clean up data? Yes or no?
Manually.
And 100% said yes. Oh, I'm sorry. That was wrong. My apologies. 80% said yes and 20% said no.
Okay. Well, we're all about data cleaning today, so want to get started on this with our objectives. Our objectives are pretty straightforward today. We're going to clean up some data. So what I'd like you to do is imagine you had someone at work who helped you enter 100 new items in NAV. You realized that they entered them with the wrong item category code. So what do? Well, you can open up each item and correct the item category, or you can make them go through all of the items and correct the item category. And I'm sure after that, they will not make that mistake again, but you actually like them and you know they were helping you. So you decide to try to clean it up through RapidStart. So that's what we're gonna do today. Clean up the items, the item category codes that were entered incorrectly. So the steps we're taking today, we'll be adding a configuration package. We'll add a table to the configuration worksheet. We're going to assign a package. Then we're going to export. And we're going to correct the data. We're going to import it back in. And then we're going to apply the data. So let's go to NAV and correct some data. Let me just pull that screen up here. Oh, there's my webinar. Sorry about that. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go out and we're going to create a configuration package. They seem like a lot of steps that we're going through, but once you've done it, it seems it's pretty easy. So first I'm going to type in RapidStart. And I'm going to go ahead and create a configuration package. So it's just like regular NAV. You're going to hit new. You're going to create a code. We're just going to call this, I'm just going to call it temp. And I'm going to say OK. Now you can work in the configuration package if you like, but I prefer when I'm cleaning data to work in the configuration worksheet. So I'm going to go back in the menu and I'm going to open up the configuration worksheet. Now the table we're working in is the item table, table number 27. So I'm going to add the item table to the worksheet. And if you do the drop down, you can go select table. You can put in your table number. If you don't know it, you can do a drop down and search for it. And then the last piece that we need to do here is we need to assign a package. So I'm going to go to Actions and assign a package. And we're going to assign our temporary package. Okay, so now I want to point out a few things on the screen for you. You're going to see over here where you've got fields included and fields available. Also, you can see up here in the ribbon, it has the same options, just like most Microsoft products. There's multiple ways to do the same thing. I prefer working over here in this in the fact box. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at included. And since we're only cleaning the item category code, I really do not want to pull out all of this data. As you can see, all the different fields. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the included up on the top. And it brought me back to the only field that's actually required, which is the number field. I'm going to go ahead and hit close here. If I refresh the page, you're going to see how it just says now one included. I'm going to go back down to the available, and I'm just going to select the few that I want. So I am going to select description only because you hit edit list first, and then select description so that it makes it easier to know what item I am working on. And then there is a field 5702. So I'm going to go down to 5702, and we're going to select that. That is the item category code. And we're going to click OK. And if I hit F5 again, you're going to see now it's 3 fields. So 3 fields are all that's included. What you can do at this point is you can export to template. This is going to export it to an Excel spreadsheet for you. And I'm just going to open it because what I did is I pulled everything out. Now you'll notice there's a lot more in here than I really wanted. Remember, we only added a few items. We're only cleaning up a few items. So instead of doing it this way, there is the option, I'm not going to save this, there is the option of adding a filter. This makes it a lot easier for you to clean up your data. So I'm going to add a filter on the number field. I know which numbers she added for me or he added for me. So I'm going to put in that range. Now you can see where we could filter on other types of things. If you were cleaning up data, you could maybe filter on the item category code and blanks to pull anything that's missing at item category code so that you could fill them in. So we're going to click OK here. And now when I export, I want to show you the difference on how nice and easy the list is to work in. Now you can see it's a lot shorter of a list. So at this point, she or he was supposed to put in miscellaneous instead of desk. So I'm going to go ahead and correct my data. And then we're all set. I'm going to save it to a name. I'm just going to call it that. Close my spreadsheet. So I've saved it to a name. I've gone ahead and corrected the data. And now I'm going to go ahead and import it back in. It's that quick. I want to point out a few more things on the screen while we're in here. After I import it, now you can see that the package is there with 56 records. You can actually drill down into it and look at what data it is that you're trying to pull in. At this point, you can apply the data and you say yes. So until you hit apply, it's not really in your NAV database yet in the data. Oh, I didn't realize I was going to run into this. I didn't realize Desk had inherited attributes. Sorry about that. Probably should have picked a better example. But the nice thing is that it does show you that NAV goes ahead and validates everything. So it found no errors. And we're going to click OK. So now you'll see that there's nothing in the records. If there were errors, you could drill down into the errors, and then you can drill on each line and see what the problem is. It shows you the same number of records. We're going to go ahead and minimize out of this. I'm just going to go to our items. And I've got item category here in the list. So you can see all these changed to miscellaneous. Up through here. So perfect. A few things that I want to tell you about with the errors. There are some common errors that you can get. So I'm going to switch back to the slide since we didn't get any errors. Okay, so this is a common error that you might see when you're doing a RapidStart import and applying the data. This says that you cannot change the base unit of measure because there's more or one or more open ledger entries for this item. So some areas of NAV you want to really be careful of what you update or change or correct. NAV still goes through the same validation that it does when you're on the screen. So if we were to open up an item and try to change the base unit of measure, if there are ledger entries, it will not allow you to. So that's a common error that I've seen. Another common error that you might run across is where it says the configuration package table does not exist. So this is an error that's telling you the package name that you're importing does not match the package name in NAV. So this is an easy fix. You can either correct the spreadsheet and re-import it in, or if that doesn't work, you can re-export the spreadsheet, remove the rows on it, and then copy and paste from your old worksheet and re-import it in. I want to show you that real quick here. So what it's talking about in that error is up here on top. So it's saying that that name is not matching the name in NAV. So your package. So they're not matching. So that would be an easy way to change it. Next screen. It's important, and I highly recommend that you practice any changes you want to make in your RapidStart with your data in your test database before doing it in your live, just so that it happens the way you expect it to happen. Another thing to be aware of is that when you export a worksheet, you can remove rows as long as you're not destroying the structure of that worksheet, because it does have code into it. That's how NAV is able to populate the data. So let's go ahead. Here we go. Ask a question if there are any suggestions you may have that you would like to see covered in future RapidStart webinars. If so, I'd actually like you to please type any suggestions in the question box. I may be able to use these to be able to continue this series past part 3. I hope this session was helpful. Are there any questions that anyone has? Angie, has anyone sent any questions through?
Yes, we do have one so far, and that is, are you able to undo what you have brought into NAV?
It's a very good question. You are not, there is no magic undo button. And that's why we really recommend that you update, try it in your test database first. If you brought something in that improperly, there's a couple different ways you could correct it. You'd correct it the same way you accidentally did it improperly. So you'd pull out your worksheet on that table, you'd correct the data that's wrong, and then you'd re-import it back in and reapply it. So that's probably the easiest way. No magic undo button. So good question.
Thank you. Another question, if I do receive an error when applying the package, what is the best way to correct it?
There are a couple different ways, and I want to show you that real quick here. If there is, let's go back to the worksheet. If there were errors on here, it would take and open up the error message. You can drill in to see what the message is. But actually in here, if it said that it could not find the location, so say you have a location on your items and you're importing some data with your items, if it couldn't find the location, you can literally correct it on this page if you wanted, and then apply the data. Or you could go ahead and not apply the data on those few items, re-export out, correct what's incorrect, and then re-import it back in. I'm hoping that answered the question for you.
Okay, well, if anybody has any further questions, please don't hesitate to type them into the questions box and we'll get them called out. And also don't forget about the suggestions for Marlene. She's looking to further the webinars for this topic. So if you have any suggestions that you would like to see on future webinars, please let us know and we can hopefully get those webinars put together for you.
This finishes the first of our 3-part series, and I want to thank you for joining me. I hope to see you on August 22nd for the second part of this series, which deals with populating new data. You'll learn how to populate an example of a new contact lead list. One thing is that I'm trying to keep these sessions nice and short so that everyone has time to join me during these series. I hope I've accomplished that for you, and I hope you brought something away from this webinar. Thank you.
All right, looks like that's all the questions. If anybody has any further questions, and if you want to contact us, please do so. Thank you everyone for attending, and we look forward to seeing you all on one of our future webinars. And just be sure to go to our website and check out our events page. We have a lot of webinars coming up for August, and I'm not going to name all of them because there are a lot, but check out our events page and you will see a lot of a variety of webinars to choose from. So thank you, Marlene, for the informative information on data cleanup with RapidStart. And again, thank you all for attending, and we look forward to seeing you on one of our future webinars. Have a great day.